here's the third section of this little course on social media for real businesses. This is a summary of the online toolkit that you've got. It covers some of the things that we talked about last time. We've talked about using Google AdWords for research, developing the keywords, and then creating content in WordPress, in Academy, and using YouTube. Now, the great thing is you basically want the rest of the world to see it, even if they don't look in those environments. So you can use utilities like Twitter Feed or Hootsuite or to take that information and feed it via Twitter, which kind of is almost like a transparent plumbing, if you like, and route it to other places where people are going to look at it, destination, as if you like LinkedIn or Facebook, which are probably the two most powerful or most used social media networks where people actually talk about each other. So here's a little summary of the way in which they interact. Some are quite free. You can just look at the profile and ask to connect in Academy. In LinkedIn, you have to be introduced. Some of them are business and social. Some of the Facebook is primarily social. LinkedIn is primarily business. A typical user in LinkedIn is corporate. Typical user in Facebook might be an individual or a small business. So you've got various categories of these, and this page is just a summary of that. Useful crib sheet. Now, we've talked about the source media, where you create the materials that you're going to interest people. But as you create them, you send the details on to your profiles in LinkedIn and Facebook. See, Twitter is actually pure permission marketing. People follow you if they like what you say. If you're boring, they'll just turn you off. And it's a real discipline in terms of being concise, which is a really important thing for branding and marketing anyway. You've got 140 characters to make your point. So you might want to think of using Twitter as a headline, a comment, and a link. And, you can link to things like blogs, you can link to events, you can link to offers. But the important thing is to converse. Web 2 is all about conversation, about two-way dialogue. So chat with colleagues, retweet good stuff that they come up with or that you found somewhere. You want to aim to inform and entertain, and don't do more than about 15% of self-promotion because it just turns people off. But you can use the Twitter as a carrier medium to route blogs to Facebook and LinkedIn. Part of the problem, of course, is keeping it all straight, so you need a few tools to use. I use TweetDeck and Hootsuite for the most part, because you can help sort conversations by topic. You can automate your business posts, and you can feed material to Twitter accounts. So I've got a search, which is things that I've said. There's things that people have said about me. There's the things that the people who I really rate are saying, so I keep track on that. And then there's what's going on the intelligent garden front. I have two real IDs that I use. Alan Ray, which is what I use for pretty much everything in business except stuff to do with this, particularly the intelligent garden or the fledgling glass houses or our horticultural businesses here, and they go through IntelliGarden. Hootsuite is quite good because if you've got an event that you want to publicise, you can basically stack up a load of tweets automatically and they just come out ahead of time, so you don't have to think about that. You can just use Twitter more in the moment for having conversations or promoting things that you come across. It's very powerful for research. In fact, some people use it instead of using Google if they want to know what's going on currently. You can follow ideas using hashtags. Iran election, organic, market research are things that I use a bit. You can identify who has things worth saying, and you can check their reach or your own reach, because you have to decide who's influential in your field. If you wanted to check out sort of market researchers, you can see who's saying stuff on market research, and somebody who's interesting, you can see how important they really are. Clout, you see, is quite important. It tells you how good you are out of 100 at getting your stuff known and promoted. So let's talk about the destination media. This is Lisa's profile as it was a couple of years ago. Facebook's got many third-party applications. It's particularly good at pictures and videos, which is why people use it for keeping in touch with each other. It blurs boundaries between professional and social worlds. So if, like me, you're an old manners and don't get into trouble very much, it works quite well. If you have a sort of a Jekyll and Hyde existence, it makes it very difficult to keep the two separate. From a marketing point of view, you can create special interest groups. I created a How to Do Business group, which has got 600 members, really quite on its own volition. And you can create Facebook fan pages like The Intelligent Garden. And above all, you can again pull in content from your blog or other sources, route it via Twitter or direct. This is the Intelligent Garden page. Now, I'm actually using this as part of my ongoing marketing activity, and every time I put a post on the site, it comes up in here. And then sometimes people comment on it or they like it. So it gives you a means of engaging, and you've got obviously all the sort of Facebook's capability of putting up sort of photo libraries and videos, which if you're trying to talk about something like gardening is really quite powerful. Now, if you want to find your influencers, as you can find them through Twitter, as we've talked about, but you can stalk them in LinkedIn. It's well used by corporates, and you can figure out who knows who. And who do you know who knows them, so that you can get introductions if necessary. You can join industry groups and see who's discussing what. You can demonstrate your expertise in discussions. And, of course, you can demonstrate thought leadership because you can get your blog entries and your slide share onto your profile. So if you're talking about consistently about a concise body of knowledge, you can use this as a tool for getting people who are important or influential to see what you've got. So here's some examples. This is my LinkedIn profile. It's just the top of it because it goes on quite a long way. It's got something that I just said on Twitter. It's got the 2 or 3 current activities I'm engaged in. It's got my past activities and tells you a bit about what I've been doing. Running small businesses, 1981, it says here. If you go down the page, you can see things like who I'm connected to, what is coming through from my blog, what groups I'm a member of. That's quite useful. These groups are actually really quite important. It's also got some of my SlideShare presentations on the site, on the profile as well. So it does give you a means of demonstrating in one place what you're about, what your expertise is. And then you can belong to a group. I belong to several industry groups. I'm a chartered marketer, so this is a discussion going on in the chartered marketer section. It doesn't have the sort of power that the groups have in Academy or even in Facebook. In fact, the capability is pretty rudimentary, but it is where you will find professional people. And you just have to think, in terms of where they're going to check you out. Ex-military people keep in touch via Facebook, apparently. Somebody told me that when I was interviewing them. Corporate people use LinkedIn, and for many businesses, it's the main tool. As we said, it's got groups you can join, participate in based on professional bodies. You can get your thought leadership easily into circulation, and you can understand the structure of your industry because it tells you who knows who. So it gives you the opportunity to be connected and be seen as a thought leader, which if you're a consultant or an academic is probably pretty important to you. So let's go back to our marketing to-do list. We talked about coming up with the 50 people you need to meet and how you're going to get them, how you can collide with them. We did that in the first section. Then you use social media to create the scenery for the play. Join LinkedIn, join the groups, use PR, build a collateral library using the tools that we talked about in section 2. Create a form on your site for people to sign up so you can email them, build profiles, and connect it all together so that when people check you out, they can find your stuff because they will check you out. So here's just some examples of things that we can do. If you want any more information on this, you can get it from me either by ringing me or emailing me. And if you want a couple of free classes just to discuss some of these issues, you might try some of these links. Thanks very much.